Hello and welcome. You're watching In Goa 24 by 7. I'm your host Shoaib, and we have here for a special interaction with us a counselor, a psychologist who knows children better than anybody else, and she is none other than Lucid Vijinkar. She is currently the faculty at the Nirmala Institute, and in the past, she has been the principal of People's High School in Panjim. Welcome, ma'am, to this special episode interaction on COVID-19 and children's mental health.
Thank you.
We are seeing a very circumstances and situations which are really totally different. The world is currently engulfed in this COVID-19 situation, and there's a kind of a fear psychosis everywhere. And the since March 23rd, the whole of the country has been under lockdown, and in ways we are still in mini lockdowns every day, while adults are still trying to uh, get over it with their jobs, with their employment. But the biggest impact we see is on children, because in the last 4 months, 5 months, they have been restricted to their homes. Even some of them can't, have not been even outside the four walls of their homes. So, what kind of an impact do children have or would have in the near future because of COVID?
Well, actually, if you look at it, it depends on the varying ages of the child. We'll begin with the little ones. And the little ones are absolutely confused. They cannot understand for the life of them why they have to be indoors. And in order to understand, what we adults are doing is we are putting the fear of going out, and they are living up to fear. That is not really good for children to grow in that kind of atmosphere, because with fear will come insecurity, and this insecurity is upsetting them all. They do not know when schools will, and if it are, at all it will open. Now for them, you would wonder why school, but school for them is a mixture of learning and fun. It's not just going to school and getting whacked by the teachers, and they are more interested in interacting with their friends, with if the teacher is a nice person, just in meeting her, saying hello. Now that's what the students are missing terribly: their friends, their teachers. It's that personal touch. And we've always been saying, some years ago we talked about, if robots took over as teachers, what would happen? Yes, it would be great, but no, not at all, because learning comes with a personal touch. And there are examples where if the teacher is not feeling good and her voice is not very to the point, the children notice it, even the little ones. And they will ask, "Teacher, you're not feeling well today?" That is so touching, very touching. So now what happens is that the online classes, yes, the teachers are taking so much trouble. And it's not a joke, because I've been told that I'm very fortunate to be out of the system, because they are practically out of 24 hours, 20 hours getting ready for the class and then giving the class. Now that's no joke. It's quite a strain on the teachers. And yet at the end
Definitely.
of the day, they don't know. Yes.
We will
Yes, you
speak
were
on the
saying?
online education. Yes, I was just saying that, sorry to interrupt. We will speak on the online education in details, because that is
Yes.
one aspect which children
Right.
are having to face currently. But as I said,
Absolutely.
one is the impact, as you spoke in general terms. But at the same time, we also see a different kind of atmosphere at home now, where because the children are there 24 by 7. Now, children by nature, they're supposed to be naughty. They are going to be having fights with they're going to fight with their siblings. But all this somewhere looks like has changed, or at least the behavior towards even siblings has changed. Could you put some light on why and how this changes take place, and what is the impact of that?
Yes. Actually, this has brought out many facts where earlier quality family life was just taken for granted. Even the siblings, each one was busy with their own homework, their own friends, their own circle of things. And they didn't have much time for each other. But today, having to be at home, it's automatic that the younger ones come up to the older ones and say, tell me a story or help me with this, or, and the older ones are trying to be teachers and trying to be big sisters to them. And it's very nice. The quality of life has really grown in this impact where the family has lived together. But then again, enough is enough. I cannot take so much of it all the time, all these months. So there has come in an element where very many families are cracking down. Children are kind of feeling suffocated. They just need to meet friends. They're breaking down on that angle a lot. And the parents are so helpless in that. They try very hard to keep in touch with friends, video meetings, other stuff, but it's not the same. Online will be online, and personally, it's different.
So, ma'am, then the next point that while we talk about siblings, and as you said, enough is enough. I can't, take any more. There's also, as we see, a different aspect to it when we talk about schooling, and that is missing school per se as a premises, as a campus. But at the same time, the peers and the competition, uh, academics itself, wherein you're including sports being a part of it. Some are science enthusiasts, some are math enthusiasts. I mean, every child has its own favorite subject to favorite teacher
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
friends. So, how does how do families? Because at this point of time, they are 24/7 with their parents, and if you have a say a joint family, then it's a larger family. So, how do families then cope up with such a
No,
pressure?
but actually, to answer you, uh, it has opened many other doors where, there are organizations and other groups of people who have organized various sorts of competitions. And it's amazing to see even youngsters going into the kitchen to make salads and to cook and to take part in the competition, which they would never have done earlier. So, from art, music, I witnessed an
Mhm.
online virtual music competition, which was absolutely fabulous. And so, on that front, all of them are getting their leeway. It's not that they are not, they're getting their leeway. And I think they're getting more time because they are at home and there's no time for tuitions and stuff. So, all that time is being utilized very, very fruitfully. And those who want to make a go of it, yes, there's everything there for them.
Okay. So, then also during this whole situation, now over the months, as I initially said, and there's a fear that has creeped in into the whole society, and it has become a very system. Now, you go anywhere, any locality, everywhere, the talk of the town or even discussions is all about COVID, and to the extent, unfortunately, some of the areas have been declared as containment zones, which are very strictly, as we say, could have. I mean, they are under lockdown. How do families or individuals as children? How can we help them cope up with such a situation?
Actually, I've been in touch with some of my friends who live in the containment zone in Vasco. And
Mhm.
it's amazing how, in their own homes, they're keeping themselves very busy. Like, there's a family, there are three girls, grown up girls, but they're so talented. And they've got together and brought out virtual concerts, and you will be amazed, because they've done from costuming to singing and dancing. It's beautiful. They would never have done this early otherwise. And then there are others, like even the younger ones, who are having like mini exhibitions in the house. like artwork and whatever they can get, wealth from waste and other things, where I think in the end, in a way, this pandemic has brought out a very useful tacit of education and learning. Education and learning is not all about academics and scoring marks and performing. The competition was at that level, and it was an undue competition for no reason. Okay. Of course, when you talk to the parents would say, well, it's a highly competitive world. And because it's a competitive world, now we are brought down to our feet. And it's making all these youngsters very holistic. They are realizing the talent, the skills, hidden talents, hidden skills that they would not have realized otherwise, which is very acceptable, very good.
Uh, Going deeper into how it's impacting lives, and especially lives of children, uh, a lot of, the number of cases of positive people is increasing in Goa day by day. And also, unfortunately, we have had several deaths due to COVID. Certainly there must be some impact on children, whose family members are either have become positive, and therefore they are in home quarantine, or they are in hospitals. And for those who
Yes.
lost their dear ones, maybe grandparents or even
Grandparents and
uncles,
stuff.
aunts,
Yes. Right. See,
what kind of an
the
impact
thing is, let's
they
be.
would have?
Yes. No, the least we can say is that let's be practical on the whole front. Yes, the pandemic is here. We have to accept it. So when we talk to children, especially the smaller children, we don't put the fear of the pandemic into them. You can give them examples like it's a flu, and when you go to school you get cough and cold and fever, then there's no fear because we give you medicine, we put you in bed, we tuck you up with something warm. That's exactly what it is all about. Okay, it's people who don't take care, and that's why you need to use your pros. That is, wear your mask, cover your nose, cover your mouth, so that people's spit or whatever doesn't get into your way. That is a key thing. Second thing, keep clean. Hygiene is very important. Make sure whenever you go out or touch anything, immediately you wash your hands or sanitize your hands. Get them to carry a small bottle of sanitizer so that these are weapons that can look after myself. Avoid big crowds. That is the main reason why schools are not open and we are not going to schools, because we are afraid that you will mix around with everyone. This, if you put the fear in them, obviously they are going to be living in an outright fear. Yes, someone has died in the family, but there are deaths otherwise. So don't make an issue of the COVID death. Make an issue in the fact that he was old and he's gone to God. He was not keeping very well and you wanted to see him suffer. See, the whole thing is that we as adults are afraid and we are transferring this fear to the young ones. And so the whole place is scary. Don't go there, it is bad. So they don't know why it is bad. Remember that once the whole thing opens up, they will not go to certain places because it's bad. So what is this bad? So that tomorrow they may say, no, I'm not going to school, it's a bad place. Then what do we do? So we need to know how to talk to youngsters. We need to talk correctly. Even when we are talking amongst ourselves, children are listening to us. So we must be very careful how we speak and what we speak. Even otherwise, it's very important because children, they listen. Even teachers, the language, their tone of voice, the way they speak should be assuring, should make them feel comfortable and that, nothing bad, it's not evil. If you look at some of the countries abroad, they have been doing this to their youngsters. Why can't we do that here in India? Why do we have to live in so much fear? It's going to happen. It's going to go away soon. Just be positive. Everything positive will make the place a better place.
So a lot of it depends on the way parents or family members how they interact with
Absolutely.
their children in these circumstances.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
Moving a step ahead from how it's been impacting to the next level of online education. I mean, the system of education has changed drastically, and we are seeing that a new mm, way of educating our children is coming into the system, and that is online education.
Right.
How good or bad is uh, being online going to, I mean, firstly, is online education going to be able to provide as much as a face-to-face interaction would?
Well, see, let's look at different areas of this. In the first place, look at curriculum. Why do we have to overload them with so much of information and knowledge? Let them also, now that they're using the laptops and the mobiles, let them find out many things. Certain things can be given to them as assignments, projects, where they can study, they can make comparative studies, they can check out for themselves. So some of the lessons that I've observed online, they were very interesting, where the teacher would probably never have done that otherwise, where when she's explaining, I looked at a science class and it was so amazing. And she was teaching and talking, and at the same time, she was showing them video clips and pictures and so much of it that I'm sure the class was interesting. And if I were in her class, I would have told her, please go on, don't stop, because it really generated so much interest. Now, again, the same old story. It's from teacher to teacher. Even in a regular classroom, a teacher can create and rouse the children or can really bore them to sleep. So, same thing online. There are teachers, no doubt it's a big job and very hard and lots of effort, but there are lots of teachers who are doing it. They're showing them videos, showing them certain things from the YouTube, and interspersing that in their talking so the children are truly having a ball of a time. They're really enjoying and learning so much more than they would. And the rest of it, leave it to the child. Let them find out. Let them do it as an assignment or a project.
So there's a question that I mean, when I inform some of my friends that I would be interacting with you. So there's a question that one of
Yes.
our viewers, Usman Khan, is from Margaon. He has asked. Says the pandemic having restricted outdoor activities, kids seem to have been spending more time with gadgets and cell phones. Uh, Either of the case is worrisome. What could be your advice in managing such a situation? And very as an impact of the online education that we're talking,
Yes.
how do you think parents could manage this?
Yeah, I would look at it this way. Um, this has come to stay. And gadgets and more gadgets and fancier gadgets are going to come in. Okay. If we hide or ban or prohibit the younger generation from using it, we are cutting them off from the world. We are not allowing them to explore. And in that sense, they come out with the fact that something is not good there. That is why they are not allowing us. So why don't we can supervise, we can, challenge them, we can ask them, so what did you learn today on the net, what did you read about, and have a discussion on it rather than just leave them to play with it. So it's not a toy just to be played. Let them learn to use it to enhance their knowledge, their information, to get newer ideas, to check out on what teacher was explaining today in the class. So if they know how to use it in the right manner, everything will be good. It's again, I feel the parents need the onus. They need to know. A lot of parents themselves don't know anything about how to use the computer and the laptop. So what happens is you're giving a leeway to the child to tell you, oh yeah, I'm doing this, when they're doing something else. So you also pick up, learn from your children while they are learning, when you're free, sit by them. Nobody's stopping you. Sit by them, ask the child, why did the teacher say to press this button? What is that? What is this? So you also picking up, you're also learning, and then the child will know that you know something. So they can't be fooled anymore. For all these years, children were fooling their parents. There was lots going on. So now at least, hopefully, it will be in the right direction.
So, as you just pointed out, a lot of parents, family members wouldn't even know how to use these gadgets, uh, and there are many families where a smartphone, buying a smartphone itself is not possible. There are
Yes,
many students who are living in the rural area who do not have access to
that's
proper
right.
internet. So, in such
Correct.
circumstances, how do what can be done for
Actually,
these children?
yes. See, I was looking at why has the government or the education department not used the TV? And the TV is one gadget that is almost in every home, be it rich or poor. And I am pretty sure, because I was talking to a family who couldn't afford, they live in Panjim, but they cannot afford any of these things for their children. And he has two children. And so I said, so you're missing out on so much. He said, yes, but what to do? I can't afford it. And then he asked me this question: why are they not doing the lessons on TV? At least one or two lessons on TV. And that's a fact. If the government sponsored it and asked teachers to have certain, like for the lower classes to fifth standard, one theme could have a part of EVS, could have language, could have a little bit of math in it, it would be a wholesome lesson. But it requires planning and it requires proper execution. So if the government realizes this, they can utilize this, definitely. And then even our rural children would benefit, absolutely benefit. And even language they would pick up, because they would listen to the teacher saying something. Like a story can be used so effectively, and the children would really enjoy the story, learn, and they would, little children always mimic. And so there you would get your little children to learn the language correctly rather than force them to repeat after you, say this, say that. So there are ways to do it if the government can spend more money in a better place.
We hope that this suggestion of yours actually is taken seriously and the government implements on this suggestion.
Yes.
There's one particular. I don't have the name. This is from Vasco, and it's basically not a question, but a situation wherein this child has kind of created her own classroom at home. Probably she's lucky enough to have that much of space, but with toys and with dolls, she's created a small classroom. So, is this impacting in a positive way or a negative way, or how could the parents, help her? Because this, as some would see it, in fact, the parents see it that this is taking her morally pulling her down. So, what exactly is the outcome of such a
No,
situation?
no, 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 not at all. I think it is so cute because I remember when my daughter was little and she was in second and third standard. Every afternoon, I never entered her room, but from outside, I knew exactly what the teachers had taught, how they spoke, what they said, how they scolded the children. I knew exactly what was happening because, as I told you, children mimic so well. And when she's doing this now, all that the parents can do is tell her, okay, now you read this lesson, you learn about this lesson, and you teach your dolls this lesson. Isn't it wonderful? You will be able to know whether she has grasped the knowledge, she has grasped the understanding, and how she's putting it forth. I think she has got perfect relationship skills. She'll go a long way. There's nothing down in that. She's going to be a good teacher someday.
I hope the message is very. It's a
Yes,
very good, happy
very much.
message for the parents there. The one question that I would want to ask before we uh, uh, move on to taking a break for today and then going into
Yes.
and continuing on the second episode tomorrow is, uh, this is all about school children who are still in their lower grades or maybe not even in the very crucial stage, but students like who are going to be answering the board exams. Uh, most
Yes.
of them are already beginning to panic because you can't. I mean, if not in normal circumstances, you would at least could go to tuition classes. In this circumstance, you're not able to access tuitions. You're not able to be in your classroom. What advice would you give to such students? I mean, because there are students who would be
I
able to
Yeah,
understand your advice better.
there are quite a number of students. Uh, if you look at it in one way, this now is the double responsibility of the teachers, because who goes for tuitions and what tuitions? Okay, if they are already taught those subjects and the matter in the class, why do they require a second teacher? One thing. Okay, tuition classes were just mushrooming, and the tuition teacher is running another classroom because there are like 50 children in the class. So what can be a tuition class there? That is one thing. So the teachers need to realize this and pay more attention. Secondly, there are already a lot of online tuition classes that are being advertised. So people are very quick at everything. So many of them have got students, they say. So I don't know. It might be in the long run a better thing to do. And some people, I just read and heard today, some parents are so worried about children that they are not able to handle them. Smaller ones, they're not educated. So they have a personal teacher to come to the house and check on the child. So what more would you want then? So even the teachers are doing their good job. I think we
Okay,
find
so
a way out of everything. Yes.
So we will take a break here and end our first episode with regard to COVID and children's mental health, and we shall continue this discussion. I request our viewers to please uh, log on to our various platforms, as well as you can switch on your TV and watch the next episode tomorrow at the same time. And we will have Ma'am Lucid Virginkar along with us answer a lot more questions. And in the next episode, we will have specific questions regarding how adolescents and young college going youth are dealing with this situation. Thank you, ma'am, for being with us on this episode. Thank you, viewers, for
It's a
watching in
pleasure.
Goa 24/7. And we look forward to seeing you all in the next episode. Thank you.